What is going on, everybody? Welcome in to Alarm Fantasy Football. In the immortal words of Rocky Balboa, I ain't heard no bell. That's right. We are getting ready, set and squared away to start talking about NFL Week 18. There are some fantasy football championships that are involved with Week 18, whether it's a 2-week championship, whether it's like you just play to the end of the season. But it's not just that also. We also talk about, game flow and situations like that. So if you're in confidence pools, that goes till week 18. Best ball contests, you get to sit and watch till week 18, but you want to root on your players, figure out what your chances are so that you can calculate that ROI so properly that I see everybody on Twitter for. I'm Howard Bender, Andrew Cooper here by my side. What is up, Coop?
What's up, gang? And
Tuesday.
Also,
Happy New Year, dude. I haven't seen you since New Year.
I know. It's crazy, dude. It's a whole new year now, dude. It's a whole new year. We still got to wrap up this one and talk about Week 18 because Week 18 is a very, in my opinion, the most fun slate for DFS is Week 1 because everything's so crazy. The prices come out so early. This might be the second most fun one because you've got, all the other fantasy stuff is away and you've got teams that are in position to maybe start some backups. You've got teams that are going to give some guys a last look. I hear coaches already saying those reps are very important for these young guys. So this is where you take all those like young breakout guys and you make some crazy lineups with that. So I'm very excited. Also, for those that did the fantasy football best ball leagues with us, I see Fatty McFats in the chat, Anthony Robert Flores. I'm putting together a big list of how we all fared in that one, who won, who didn't. And Howard, I got to say, I mentioned on the previous show, a lot of familiar names in here finished in the money in these best balls. I mean, our guy Jack Straw, Kismet won 2 of them. I personally did my final count for fantasy alarm specific ones with members, 19. Is how many we did. At least I did, Howard. Kismet won 2. Obi-Wan won. Sellers, Money Tastes Bad, Icy Through. I mean, the whole list. Everybody you can think of that was in there with us doing those. Grande, Fatty McFats finishing the money. Hamburger finishing the money in 1. So a lot of fun. We're going to get going on those as soon as we can. But for now, it's still this season, right? As you told me very recently.
I think I got trounced in the Underdog best balls. Which is kind of comical too, because then I'm I like look over and I'm like, okay, so I'm winning money in like these 4 BB10s that I did, and I'm winning money over at RT Sports, and then I go look it over at Underdog, and I was like,
right. So you know what it was? Abusive. I was looking through a bunch of them, and
Daniel Jones.
The ones where I won, I won a few. I finished the money in a few of them. And in those leagues, those were the leagues that you sniped me on Miles Sanders and Michael Thomas. So I'm looking at it. And you and me in the leagues where we took Miles Sanders, we got crushed. But when you took those guys from me, I won like all those ones because you saved me from myself. So
there you go. I'm happy to do it.
You do get an assist. You do get an assist for a couple of those ones. I was looking through it. I'm like, what happened here? Oh yeah.
Did you take down any championships this wonderful New Year Eve season?
Oh, I not only took one down, but I took down the most important one, the one I was playing against John and Pemba in.
Oh!
It came down to not the very last game, but it came down to the wire with he was winning going into like the end of the 4:00 games. And a couple of guys, DK Metcalf, they pulled it through for me, just barely won. So shout out to John. I mean, we needed it bad in that league because they were talking so much trash. They're like, oh, have me on the show. I'm the professional now. Like taking my hat off my head. Oh, I'm a fantasy alarm, blah, blah, blah. But the fantasy alarm analyst did finish 1 and 2 in that league. So everybody in that league is just going to have to eat it.
Yeah, we, you know what? I mean, very similar in the Jam on Fantasy Football League that I run. And it's like, it's, half sports guys and it's half, music guys, rock stars, lighting designers, management, stuff like that. And then the only 2 fantasy analysts who are in there are me and Steve Gardner. And I've won, I think it was back in like 2017, I won the league. And then, Gardner has never won. So we've been getting so much shit over the last couple of years from these guys that it was me and Gardner in the finals this year, and suddenly nobody had anything to say. It was the
Ah,
quietest text chain I've ever been on.
that's what they do too. You know what I mean? Nobody ever comes. They talk trash. They never come back and say, "Oh, by the way, good job." You know. So who ended up taking it down? Do you receive? Ah, there he is, big dog,
How
big
about
dog.
this one here? Ready? By 0.6.
Oh
I
no,
was down whatever it was, 25, 26 point, whatever, going into the night game. Jaden Reed on my team still to go. I totally forgot about the night game. Like I was like looking on the app and I was like, oh shit, I'm gonna lose to Steve. But you know what? It's Steve Gardner. I love Steve Gardner.
Right.
And if I'm gonna lose to anybody in that league, let it be Steve Gardner and go from there. And
Steve's in
then
there today, hitting that F5 button on the stat correction page, just like let's see.
well, the funny thing was I sent out a text to the group because I forgot that there was like the night game, like whatever. It was New Year's Eve, and we're dealing with like my wife wants me to set up the webcast for the fish show, and she's been like an absolute pill because she's not in New York right now. Like that whole thing. So I like totally spaced it. And I just sent out, I looked at a couple of the leagues that I do, Shakedown Fantasy, which Jack Straw was playing in the finals. He lost. Sorry, Jack. But, listen, Drew Davenport was a friggin' beast all year long. So, Davenport won that one. And so I like did a congratulations over there. And then I saw that my boy Frenchie was winning animal crackers. So I was like, all right, let me text him, text the group there. And then all of a sudden I like came to the group text for, Jam On. I was like, oh yeah, congratulations, Steve Gardner, blah, 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 champion. And then all of a sudden it was like that when it happened where all of a sudden when Jaden Reed took that lead for me, the text chain just started to fire up. Collusion, it's fucked up, cheating. What the hell is this all about? And then finally, like one thing from Steve Gardner being like, well played, Jaden Reed. He's like, I would have preferred if Jaden Reed had played the entire rest of the game, just not that he like scored the second touchdown, beat me by 0.6, and then left the game.
It was like, there you go.
Like,
thanks for
I'm here for Bender. Bye-bye. See you later. We did what we got to do.
He's checking in, right? He's on the phone on the sideline. He's like, we got him? Okay, we got him. I'm out.
oh, my chest. I can't go back in. That was a close one. I was very happy to do that. I get to pick the show now that I get the trophy at set break, which is always a nice little presentation. And then I won the military appreciation draft that we hosted over at Fantasy Alarm on Sirius XM. And those guys, great guys, like fantastic guys. A lot of FA Nation guys, also in there. Huge shit talkers.
I can imagine.
To the point, like on draft day, this one dude who was like stationed in Japan is drafting at like 6 o'clock in the morning his time, and he's on the radio being like, yo, Howard, so I don't know if you remember this, but in those the DAV drafts that Dan Klaskin always runs, I've been in a number of those drafts with you over the years, and I've beaten you every time. Oh.
There you go, dude.
Are you going to poke the bear in the zoo? Is that what you're doing right now? Okay. Points leader. I just steamrolled everybody in that.
I tell you, man, it's like the military guys, the former athletes, like Drew Davenport, the poker players. There's a lot of very hyper competitive sharks out there just waiting, dude. So when you get leagues with those specific types of people, man, it can get spicy. Dude. It can get spicy. I saw a clip of Marquise Brown saying that he traded himself away in fantasy football, and in the clip he goes, he's like, I'm not getting it done out here. He's like, I'm not winning on the field. He's like, I got to win something this year. He's like, he's like, I'm winning my fantasy league. I got to win something. I got to get some sort of trophy. So that competitiveness, man, it comes through. So shout out to everybody that won. Again, in the Discord chat, I'm going to post the best balls at least, but just fun to see that. I mean, I took down probably the most important contest of the year, obviously, Fantasy Football Survivor, and by Survivor I mean the Survivor TV show with Jeff Probst. That Ryan Hallam runs. I've come in last like every time. So this year But I was in there watching videos, me and my wife taking notes. So it's you know what? Big year. Big year. I will say, Howard, as I watched this season, your contestant Emily, she grew on me a little bit. She kind of redeemed herself a little
Yeah,
bit. What did
like
you
a
think?
fungus. Yeah, absolutely.
She wouldn't go away.
Dude, it was
Dude,
so
but
fun.
if she got voted out early in the season, people would have hated her. Like she hung around long enough to make you like her a little bit, I felt.
So I have somebody who does my Survivor rankings for me.
I know you do.
Okay. Oh, that's right. So I'll just tell everybody. So
Sham
Blunt, my producer over at SiriusXM, her roommate is a Survivor like fiend,
expert,
and I had no idea about this. So last year, I guess, it was last year. I went, I started talking to her, and then she ranked all the players for me. But she does 2 sets of rankings. She does she does just based off of like what the write-up says and what she feels that they're saying over there. And then the other one is vibe. Like she watches videos with them all in there. And so she does those and then does a composite ranking for me. It's a phenomenal process. I told her I would always subscribe to her Patreon. If she ever wanted payment for these rankings, these are rankings that I will pay for. And so I used her rankings again. So I won last year.
You crushed us last year.
This year. And literally after I saw that I had Bruce and Emily. Right, I have
literally the most annoying characters.
Dude, I did exactly.
How did those guys pass the vibe check, dude?
I did exactly what a noob subscriber to fantasy sites does, right? Like week 1 after losing week 1, like these rankings suck. These players are terrible. What is wrong with you? So I call her up and I did one of those to her. Just to
you are a smelly pirate hooker.
Yeah, but your team did come around. That was funny though. I remember that. Well, I was actually doing the show that night when you got her on the mic and you dogging her. But yeah, I took it down this year and I'm excited for next year. But let's get back to fantasy football, probably, right?
Oh, let's do it. Again, like you said, shout out to the chat. Angelo already throws in a question here, or a comment actually, which I think is definitely appropriate considering it's week 18. If Jaden Reed is out this week, he's grabbing Bo Melton. So
not crazy.
Bo Melton. Angelo, just always watch it on the Fantasy Alarm YouTube page. It's always the one you want to watch. Fantasy Alarm YouTube page. We're getting rid of that second channel. So appreciate that comment.
Oh,
there.
Is he in the Better Sports channel?
He's probably in the Better Sports one, which has
like
2 people watching from there, 1 person watching from there, and then everybody else is here in the Fantasy Alarm one.
I actually had somebody, Howard, in the Discord this week on Coop's Corner. They go, man, love the content this year, loved it all. He's like, one thing I never got and I don't really get is the Twitch gang glasses. He's like, what is that? And because they don't see it. So just for everybody out there that might not know, the reason we throw the Twitch glasses on is that we have people that watch on a different app, sometimes Twitch, and we like to give them a little shout out. So anyone that might
give them look at that. There we go. There's one right
the Twitch
there.
gang right there, dude. So so shout out Air Jordan 420. We do have people coming in from Twitch. We like to support the different platforms. So that's what the Twitch glasses mean for anyone that was confused. Because I after they said that, I was like, I could see why that might be confusing if you didn't know that. So there you go.
New year, we're gonna fix everything. There's a lot of stuff that's gonna be fixed, condensed, and all set up for you guys. It's a brand new year. We're just trying to finish the NFL season right now, and then kind of take off there. So back
things
to
you
his
want to
comment,
see. Things you want to see, let me know. Go to Coop's Corner in the Discord. If there was something you wanted to see that we didn't do or things that you think we could change, say it right in there, especially regarding the Discord itself. Say that in there, and we'll do our best to get that together because I want to hear from you guys. So, but yeah, back to the comment on Jaden Reed.
Yeah, if he's out, let's talk about Bo Melton. So the team actually just signed Bo Melton to the 53-man roster. Like he was practice squad. They pushed him back. They brought him back up already. They're locking him in here, which tells me that they, obviously Christian Watson's not going to come back and play in week 18. But with Jaden Reed banged up here, does Bo Melton move the needle for you if you're playing for a week 18 championship?
So it's going to boil down to who is healthy and who isn't, because there's kind of a pecking order here. If Christian Watson plays, it's going to
He
be
won't.
Christian Watson. He's not going to play, right? So if Christian Watson
Probably not.
doesn't,
I'm not
okay.
banking on it.
Well, here's the thing: if Dontavian Wicks plays, then he takes the Christian Watson role,
Yeah.
right? So it's like it would be Wicks and Romeo Dubs on the outside. Then you have a battle between Malik Heath and Bo Melton to see who's going to be the slot guy. And personally, from what I've seen, the problem is they both play an equal number of snaps in the slot. So it is kind of tough battle. I might side with Malik Heath over Bo Melton, but
Really?
I mean,
All right.
Bill Melton with that was the first 100-yard game for any wide receiver on the Packers. So maybe they do just lean into him. But in an ideal world, Reed's out and Watson's out and Wicks is out, and then we know for sure it's Dubs, Heath, and Melton. In which case, I think I like Melton. So it's a dicey situation to say the least. One that we can really take advantage of in DFS might be tough to trust in a real league.
Dude, I started doing the watch list for DFS for week 18, and of course it's like
crazy, dude.
Oh, there's so much because you're trying to figure out who's in, who's out, and everything like that, and who can still move up in their seedings and everything. And I think the only, with the exception of like 49ers and the Ravens, I think the only other team that's locked in, like legit locked into their seeding, is the Chiefs.
Chiefs, yeah. They're the third seed no matter what, right?
No matter what. So
there's one team, there's one team that I could see. So I was really digging into it, Howard, to see if I could pull anything. There is one other situation where I'm worried they might rest guys, and that is the 49ers, who could rest guys, play the Rams.
Mm-hmm.
And the Rams, they're either going to be the 6 or 7 seed no matter what, and it doesn't necessarily matter as much. So if the 49ers rest guys, I could see the Rams potentially pulling guys too. So I'm also going to steer away from the Cooper Kupp and Puka Nacua because they don't have doesn't even necessarily. I know you want to be the 6 seed over the 7 because it gives you an outside chance of having a home game, but the reality is it doesn't really matter much. And who knows, maybe they like that 7 matchup better
a little bit more. Yeah.
Right. So that's the only other one, but I think you're right, Howard. Every other one that people are playing, right?
Dustin Lutke in the house here. Browns are locked into the number 5 seed.
Oh, that's
also.
yeah.
That is true. So yeah, I don't anticipate, Niners. I don't really anticipate Ravens. I don't anticipate Browns. I won't say, Chiefs, because Andy Reid's one of the first guys to pull.
Yeah,
players.
He is.
So I kind of, I steer away from those teams there. There was something. What was the other situation that I was kind of eyeballing and looking at? Now I can't even remember what it was because I had a good point on it. Detroit. So here we go. So Detroit clearly doesn't care about their seeding one way or the other, because why go for I can understand going for 2 to beat Dallas right there at the end, and just take that win and do that. Right. But then the penalty happens, and then you double down on that instead of going to overtime and doing that. By doing that, by not going to overtime, it showed me that Dan Campbell really, the seeding does not really affect him all that much. And so, outside of just wanting to spoil Minnesota's chances, because Minnesota needs the win, plus they need a bunch of help to get in there. I kind of wonder if we don't see many Detroit Lions out there this week too.
Yeah, honestly, that is interesting. And Dan Campbell definitely is one of those, he says it himself that the process is so far above the minutia to him that if that's what the process is between him and Brad Holmes and the gang, and that's what they want to do, then I wouldn't be shocked at all that he just says, hey, you know what? We had a plan and that's the plan. Because he's been doing that all year. And he tells everybody, hey, buckle up. You know what I mean? Or what do you say? Put on a diaper if you don't like him going for if you don't like him going for it. So yeah, I can see a few of them going either way. I wanted to ask you your opinion. And again, always comes down to the coaches and organizations, but a couple of these situations, like for instance, the 49ers, they're playing a rival here. They can make sure that team has a worse seed. The Ravens have their spot locked up, but they can eliminate the Steelers from the playoffs. Like, to you don't want guys from the division in the playoffs. Like, do you think that's important to them to go out and make sure that whatever team gets that last playoff spot, it's not their historic division rival they play twice a year? Or is it more important to make sure Lamar Jackson's healthy?
It's definitely more important to make sure your players are healthy, right? Zay Flowers was dealing with a calf issue before this past week. Like, sit him. Lamar doesn't need the game against Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh needs the game, right? Yeah. And so Pittsburgh's going all out. Do you want to risk the health of your guys? Maybe you give them a quarter, a series or two and let them do it. But no, I think we're going to end up seeing, these teams kind of pull back a little bit. Remember, this all started, I don't remember who the player was that Andy Reid lost when he was with Philly. But
was it Brian Westbrook? Was
it Westbrook? No, it wasn't Westbrook. He lost somebody like right there. It was like the last week of the season. It was like heading into the playoffs and somebody got hurt. And I don't remember who it was.
I don't remember.
It was a couple of players, actually.
Yeah.
And from then on in, Andy Reid just stopped playing his guys. Yeah. So again, like, I could see a quarter from San Francisco, Baltimore, Kansas City, Cleveland, but not really to the point where, I feel like any of them can be trusted, right? Although I do like Elijah Mitchell this week.
Justin says T.O. got hurt late in the season. I distinctly remember T.O. playing with a broken leg in the Super Bowl, which was incredible. But I don't know if that was that one. Yeah, I mean, a lot of interesting ones there. And I will say there's I've been trying to figure out the Patriots draft pick situation, and it's like impossible to figure out how. The thing is, if the Patriots and Redskins both lose, it boils down to strength of schedule, in which case like 5 different matchups like factor in. So I'm not sure if there's even a way to track that, unfortunately, for fans on the other side.
Yeah, I'm not
there's
even.
2 battles. There's 2 battles. There's 2 battles going on. There's a battle for the picks that can get you a quarterback, and then there's a battle for the actual playoffs. So
well, they've already been talking about it, right? The one of the rumors or whatever is that the Bears are already looking at shopping at trading that number 1 pick to either 2 or 3, whoever needs that player more, just so that they can just take Marvin Harrison Jr. at 3 after somebody takes the QB.
Yeah, I think that would be smart of them. The Marvin Harrison Jr. to the Bears or the Cardinals would be great. Him going to the Patriots would be a nightmare, right?
Oh, that would be horrible there.
Watch the Patriots trade up to 1 and take him. Watch the Patriots trade up to 1 and take like the 5th best tackle.
When was the last time you saw the Patriots genuinely trade up for a guy?
In the first round?
Yeah.
Exactly. They don't do it. Yeah. They did trade up for I think they traded up this past year for the corner. No?
I mean, I think it's pretty funny. Wait a minute. Like Belichick, how long has Belichick been the coach of the Patriots?
I've handled dozens of balls.
20 this would be 23 years, I think. 22.
23 years. So what, for your first 10 years of your life, the Patriots had first round draft choices, and then all of a sudden, like, you became like a 10, 11-year-old kid, and suddenly you were like, why does my coach keep trading out of the
Dude, in 2010, I was free. I was livid. Dude, we had the pick that was Dez Bryant. So listen to this. We traded our pick to the Cowboys, and they took Dez Bryant, right? And then we fall back, and I'm sitting here. I'm like, dude, I wanted him so bad. And then the next pick we had, Demaryius Thomas, was available. And I was like, let's do that. And then we traded that pick to the Broncos, and they took Demaryius Thomas. And I was like, dude, we are literally giving away all the wide receivers, and they turned out to be studs. The guy we took ended up being good, but it was a cornerback that then became one of the best safeties in the league in Devin McCourty. That's who we inevitably took, but I was dying, dude. I was like, we traded away our pick in the first round twice, and the player I wanted to be taken got taken both times.
R.I.P. Demaryius Thomas. R.I.P. Des
peace.
Bryant's fantasy career. Too soon?
And look at Devin McCourty thriving, right? So, yeah, there you go.
Who's had the last laugh now?
We got the last laugh there. Yeah, and then the second round, the Patriots took a tight end with a back issue named Rob Gronkowski. So the 2010 draft actually turned out okay.
Sometimes I hate when you talk about the Patriots.
later on, they took Aaron Hernandez, so it wasn't all sunshine and rainbows. But yeah, that draft was a roller coaster.
Another RIP.
Another RIP. Yeah.
What are we saddest about? Aaron Hernandez, Demaryius Thomas, or Des Bryant's fantasy career?
I mean, I know which one Luke Solak is saddest about, but for me, it's got to be Demaryius, dude.
Shout out to the women of fantasy football and everybody who stood tall for the women of fantasy football.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
All right, let's get to some of the NFL news. Yeah, the gun clicking gets me too every time it happens there.
Unbelievable. God damn it, dude. That happened. That murder happened 1 block from where I was living at the time in North Attleboro, in the industrial park that was behind my house, dude. So that whole thing. You
didn't take a stray bullet there, Coop.
I mean, right around the corner, dude. There were helicopters over my house forever.
You guys don't know this, but like Coop's a tall dude, right? So even if he's like on the floor, still like
tough.
His head's
gotta get down
over the window.
Gotta get down, dude. That's right, dude.
I'm sorry, Wilson from Home Improvement, because nobody in this chat room knows who Kilroy is.
I know Kilroy is. That's the drawing, the army, the dream drawing. Yeah,
Kilroy was here. All right, so let's get to some more NFL talk here. Obviously, the news is nice and abundant right now. The games mostly all happened on Sunday. We had, it all happened on Sunday. Everybody took the day off on New Year's Day to just kind of like recoup and enjoy themselves. Not us at Fantasy Alarm. Coop's Hot Takes article was out bright and early in the morning. I was on the radio. Coop's Fantasy Fiasco, Brits Blitz. We don't take no days off, man. Not until this season is over. And the season doesn't end until the Super Bowl is finished. And then Coop's other season begins. So
the best season. The season of rampant speculation. It is. I love it.
So let's get to some of the news and notes that are around there, because we are watching all these games, and so there are obviously some situations that if you are playing fantasy or you're playing some DFS this week, you got to pay attention to. Number one, Josh Allen dealing with a minor neck soreness. Damn. I don't care. That Sunday night football game is going to be amazing to watch, because the winner of that game wins the AFC East.
Yes.
They're both going to be. I think the Bills need to win the AFC East and clinch the playoffs. But if they lose, then they need somebody else to lose also in order for them to lock in their playoff position. I think, right? They haven't clinched their position.
Technically, haven't clinched. Yeah. So I mean, that would be crazy. But that is going to be that's the number one game, man. That's the
if they go to 10-7, and then all of a sudden you get like Pittsburgh and Houston going to 10-7 also, and then Buffalo doesn't even make the playoffs.
Dude, if Buffalo doesn't make the playoffs, man, heads will roll.
What was their win total?
I mean,
coming into the season. Britt Flynn, if you're in the room there.
Oh, yeah.
I can't remember. Was it 10.5? I feel like it might have been 10.5.
I want to say it was higher than that, man. I want to say
it's 10. It was 10.5. Oh. So Britt Flynn is going to be locked in. I might have to listen, and I love you, Bills Mafia, but for the shit that Britt took over the course of like early on in the off season and even during the season, when she had a little video out on YouTube, on our YouTube, a short reel talking about taking the under on the Bills win total, and people
I don't like that.
destroyed her.
How dare you?
Sorry, Dustin. Bills need to win. If they lose, they need either a Steelers loss or a Jags loss or a Houston Indy tie. Look at Dustin. Dustin's like sharp man on the thing here.
Yeah, Dustin's always plugged in. Okay, so.
But now I'm rooting for Miami just so that Britt can just repost that and be like, haha, motherfucker.
So the Ravens, I mean, yeah, that could be an incentive for the Ravens to beat the Steelers. It would be nice to not have the Bills in the playoffs.
Oh my God, it would be amazing.
The Ravens should definitely let the Steelers win. I think, you know what? I think they should test out Tyler Huntley and see, you got to make sure Tyler Huntley's ready to play. It's not all the Patriots stuff. Has nothing to do with any of this Patriot stuff here, but I think that this would be a good week to let Tyler Huntley get some
you.
goals.
See, I'm all about family first, right? I'm rooting for Britt Flynn, and you're like, oh yeah, it's me.
Get him. Yeah, I'm team chaos now. I'm team chaos 100%. Like
Team chaos is a fun team to be on.
Honestly, it's like all this time I would sit back like when the Patriots were doing well, and I would just look at the teams that were at the bottom, and I would say, just root for your team to lose. Like it was easy to say that. Now that I'm in the position, it is hard. Like it is hard to sit there and watch the Patriots and root for them to be bad. I find myself still rooting for the big plays and stuff. So I understand the plight. I get it.
Oh, you mean you're like a regular person now? You're not an immortal anymore?
We haven't had a parade in like 2 years.
Shout out to MG403. Took down 2 championships this year, one of which Standard Dynasty League that he's been in for 13 years.
Yeah.
Thanking us. Thank you. Listen, I love these things. It was so funny. I made a crack about the ROI comment, because I see all these fantasy analysts talking about their ROI. And I'm like, who gives a shit about your personal ROI? I want to know what the ROI is for all your subscribers, all your friends who you gave fantasy advice to. Like, how many MG403s are coming to you and saying thank you for everything that you've done? Go look at my Twitter page. I retweeted a whole mess of things from the Fantasy Alarm family. My buddy Sherm just hit me up and he was like, dude, Jaden Reed won me the Super Bowl. I told him to play Jaden Reed over, I think he had Tyler Lockett was the other option there. So, like that's what matters to me the most is how people do in their leagues using our advice, using our tools, and just seeing the way everything else just ended up this season for everybody and seeing all the messages and emails and texts and everything flowing in.
Exactly.
You guys crushed it this year. You guys crushed it. We helped. Yes, fine. But you guys are the ones in the end who make those final decisions, set those lineups, do that fab bidding, whatever the case may be. You're the one who puts in the work in order to make that happen. So kudos to all of you for your championship wins.
Exactly. You're the main characters. We're like the NPCs along the way, right? It's like it's your show, it's your team, and I'm like, I'm like the scarecrow, right? Howard's like the Tin Man. And we're just kind of
I'm blue shirt guy, dude. What are you talking about?
Blue shirt guy.
I'm blue shirt guy. Go watch Free Guy. And then
Free Guy. Oh my God, that is such a good movie, man.
No, I'm blue shirt guy. All right,
blue shirt guy, right? Just helping you out along the way.
We're about to shake this shit up, people. I'm telling you, with what we've got coming ahead for Fantasy Alarm, we are going to shake shit up to the point where everybody's going to want to be a part of it. You're going to want to live in our Discord. You're going to want to hang with the family. I'm just telling you, we got so much. Like I'm like Kilroy here, and everything down here is all fantasy baseball stuff now too, because the guide's coming out. So I'm trying to finish the season strong, but we know that fantasy baseball is right around the corner. So everything's going and everything's blowing up, and I'm loving it.
We never neglect any community, though. That's the thing, is that, we know Impemba's got to go do basketball and you got to do baseball. And we got the guys doing hockey, but you know what? Me, Britt Flynn, Kev Tompkins, we'll be staying right here on the ship. So while they got to go, while they get to go off and do their fancy baseball, right? We'll be here we'll be here holding down for football all year. And I'm talking dynasty stuff, free agency right away, and then best ball starting in February, right? And we're rocking it, and we're going to win some moolah once again. So let's go.
I love it.
Me too. All right, back to the NFL news here. A lot of quarterback stuff. There's a lot of quarterbacky things going on. I love that quarterbacky shirt that he was wearing. Quarterbacky.
So
it's not quarterbacky enough.
So
Trevor
good.
Lawrence with the shoulder. He's hopeful that he's going to play against the Titans. Jags need that win to lock down that division. Tua's got a shoulder issue. McDaniel's saying he's not really worried about it, but that's something to keep an eye on because Miami has already punched their ticket to the playoffs. They would like to have that division title in there, but I don't see Mike McDaniel putting Tua at risk if he's that concerned about it. Harbaugh is not decided if Lamar's going to play, so I'm probably going to count him out. Here's a crazy one. So Minnesota, who's quarterbacking? Kevin O'Connell says he knows, but he's not going to release it until Friday. It's got to be Nick Mullins, doesn't it?
I feel like it's got to be now. Yeah, it has to be. You can't. What if it's Dobbs? Right, just out of left field, bring him back.
I'm okay with that. I'm okay as long as it's Dobbs or Mullins. As long as it's not Jaron Allen, it means that Jordan Addison and Justin Jefferson are usable components.
I mean, with Nick Mullins, the
Jared
game
Hall,
before,
sorry, my bad.
yeah, Nick Mullins, the game before last, Justin Jefferson had like 160 yards, didn't he? Like, I mean, I don't know how you looked at that.
He threw 4 picks, and they were like, "Oh, you're gone."
Yeah, it's like, I don't know. For fantasy football, I'm cool with that. Throw as many picks as you feel like it.
Tom Tomey, boom, fantasy championship. Love that.
Let's go. By 56 points, dude, that's a shellacking.
Right?
That is a whooping.
That
was over at 1 o'clock, huh?
I love those, dude. Yesterday's fantasy alarm show was just like just a parade of champions. Everybody just talking about what they won and how they won. It was probably one of the most braggadocious shows I've ever done. But I'm ready to just do this all week here. So keep it all going in this chat, folks. I am very, very super excited about it.
Let's go, dude. I was with Impemba physically on the night that I beat him. And Impemba, he's just not even fun to talk trash to. I was doing my best. And he was just like, yeah, whatever. I did remind him many times. And the thing is, the party we're at least half the league was there because it was like a local group. So I was so annoying. One of my buddies' girlfriends was like, "Oh, so you beat John?" And I was like, "Well, technically, I beat everybody. I beat him, and I beat him, and I beat him, and I beat her, and I beat her." Right? And I was like, "But I beat John last and most. So yes, technically, I did beat John. Like I was being real annoying, but John is impervious to that stuff, man. He's been doing this too long. I think this is John's 12th season doing this."
All right, what's more annoying, you doing that at a party or me in the league manager note here for the Jam on Fantasy Football League? I did quotes from everybody. I wish I was able to beat Howard Bender. Steve Gardner, USA Today. This is all on the homepage. I wish I was as cool as Howard Bender. Ari Fink, Fish Radio. I wish I was as smart as Howard Bender. Brad Sands, Red Light Management. I wish I was as handsome as Howard Bender. Bob Wischusen, ESPN. I did a quote for everybody in the league.
You got to get that to Burns to make like a magazine cover, fantasy magazine cover with the like little blurbs on the side, like
little snippets, little quotes.
I love
it. 10 things I learned from playing with Howard Bender. But with the quotes, right? Like, dude, yeah, dude.
How amazing would that have been if that sound effect went and I was able to pop out a little smoke there with that pop?
Legendary.
Bucks coach Hot Bull says Baker Mayfield dealing with sore ribs, should be good to go week 18. You know, the Bucks can clinch their third straight divisional title with a win this weekend. I feel like, I mean, they're definitely going to go for it. And I feel like, you know, Mike Evans, who's a free agent at the end of this year, like, he wants to, like, not just, I mean, listen, the playoffs are the playoffs, but like really show out here in the end, because he's going up against like JC Horn, Jeremy Chin will float over and, help double team him probably a couple of times. But like, I feel like Mike Evans is a free agent, really wants, like, I'm in on Baker and Mike Evans this week a little more on Mike Evans than Baker.
Mike Evans, I mean, I know, again, last time they played the Panthers, they know Von Bell. I think JC Horn was banged up. JC Horn's still kind of banged up, but Mike Evans dropped like 160 yards last time these teams played. So yeah, Mike Evans definitely in a must-win game. Mike Evans has got to be locked into whatever lineups you have out there.
Yes, indeed. Angelo's saying that in one of his two leagues, he's got Purdy and Mahomes. Both are projected for under 5 points, which means I guess they're not playing. Imagine that. You've had Purdy and Mahomes all year long, and now you played a week 18, and you've got to pick up Taylor Heineke.
Yeah.
Oh, no, he's dealing with an ankle injury, so we won't know about his status there.
That's
Mason Rudolph. I guess Sam Darnold. I would pick up Sam Darnold.
Sam Darnold, yeah. It's like you can't start like CJ Beathard, even if, oh man, what a mess that is.
So gross.
Sam Darnold throwing to who? Because like even Juwan Johnson's banged up. So we're talking like Ronnie Bell. And it's going to be a scraggly game, brother.
You're entering a world of pain.
Yeah. I don't know.
Better, 10 team. Love is on the waiver wire. Okay, yeah.
Oh, scoop him up
Jordan Love
right
immediately.
now.
Immediately. I like Love's matchup this week. Absolutely.
The Underdog, shout out to our friends at Underdog. We should probably do some picks on that. Underdog has the number set for Jordan Love at like 245 for passing yards this week, which, I mean, if that's where they're setting the number, I'm feeling pretty good about Jordan Love. No?
I'm feeling very good about Jordan Love. This is why, I might keep a close watch on Bo Melton just this week. Listen, for me personally, I don't have any leagues that play to week 18, but I'm doing all the DFS work right now. And so, the scores from the playbook, the optimal lineup from the playbook were insane this week. Absolutely insane. I'm wondering how the hell I didn't build a lineup with like these optimal lineups. They looked that easy to put together, but nevertheless, I'm doing it all here for week 18. And yeah, so I'm kind of, I'm looking at that whole Packers situation there because I think it's a great matchup for them. And, Jordan Love definitely wants to finish out the season nice and strong. And he gets a tough defense, tough pass rush in Chicago, but their coverage numbers still kind of soft. So I like, Tucker Kraft, possibly Bo Melton. There's a number of guys from Green Bay who I'm watching. So yeah, Love is definitely the guy who I would definitely do there. Angelo, you're right. Let's talk about Underdog Fantasy. Like I said, so I might have gotten shellacked on my best balls on Underdog Fantasy, but I am making money playing their pick'ems. Right? We give the picks here each day. Coop and I are on this show Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. So we're making picks. These picks are hitting. Here's the QR code right here. You can click on that, scan that, or just go to fantasyalarm.com/underdog. Use the promo code ALARM. You'll get an instant deposit match up to $100 on your first pick. So we don't have any featured picks yet. We'll take a look and see what that happens closer to Thursday. But in the meantime, where are we looking right? I'll tell you what, the one that I was looking for is not posted yet. But I will see what Elijah Mitchell's rushing yards are going to be against the Rams, who could end up playing their second string people. But the guy who I want, look, Brian Burns. So good.
He knows what you're thinking.
This is what I'm eyeballing. So be on the lookout for the next 2 days when we look about Elijah Mitchell. In the meantime, I am locking down Nico Collins, 72.5 receiving yards. I'm going to say higher. Ooh. Listen, this is a game that Houston needs. Houston wants. I mean, can you imagine D'Amico Ryans and CJ Stroud taking the Houston Texans to the playoffs in their first season? They need the win. They want the win. You attack the outside corners with wide receivers. That is Nico Collins' wheelhouse. Give me Stroud, who had some rust on him this past week, which was a little on the disappointing side because I thought he would do better. But now in this game on Saturday, oh, yeah, Nico Collins, 72.5 receiving yards, Coop, higher.
I'm liking it, man. I there's so many good candidates for coach of the year that D'Amico Ryans, they don't like giving it to first-time coaches sometimes, but I think he's just as deserving as anybody. Obviously, Shane Steichen and Dan Campbell and all those guys are in the running too, but man, what he's done there, changing the culture, I love it.
I mean, Campbell, I could see.
Yeah,
we'll talk more about this.
We'll talk more about that. Let's talk about Underdog, though.
Let's finish on. What's your pick?
And here's what I got here, and I'm leaning into a coaching narrative as well, which is that the Buffalo Bills, since they fired Ken Dorsey, they've run a much, much more balanced offense, right? And they've won all 3 of these games since they fired the offensive coordinator, right? And if you go and look at what they've done, Stephon Diggs, a guy who he played 99%, 95%, and 98% of the snaps midseason against Tampa Bay, Cincinnati, and Denver. The last 3 weeks, he's played 46%, 60%, and 65% of the snaps. So not only is he not like really crushing it out there, but they're just running a more balanced attack, rotating people through. I could see them continuing to do the same thing, and Stephon Diggs in a tough matchup here, not cracking his number. So I'm actually going to go lower on 66.5 for Stephon Diggs, a number that he hasn't even come close to in 4 weeks. He hasn't even surpassed 50 yards in 4 weeks. And he's only passed this number in 1 of the last 7 weeks. 1 of 7 that he's gone over that number. So I'm going to go with lower on Stephon Diggs.
Averaging fewer than 50 yards per game over the last 10 weeks. How about that one?
Yeesh. And the thing is, early in the year, they were leaning on him hard. They were peppering him, and they were losing some of those games, man. So it's hard to argue with what they're doing all of a sudden with the coaching change. Shout out to our guy, Joe Brady, probably going to be a popular head coaching interview candidate for sure.
He's definitely going to be a popular head coaching candidate. I'm very curious to see what happens with Buffalo. If they miss the playoffs, what's going to happen there? Do they really try and retain Joe Brady if they make the playoffs and then they're missing a component? I was sitting there kind of wondering. I was looking at free agents and stuff like that, and it was there's lots to do here. Let me just wrap up our Underdog segment.
Right. Yeah. I'm thinking about it too. I'm like, we're trying to do 100 things at once.
Coop, yeah. You're like on the ball. I'm Mr. Tangent here today. I want to talk coaching. I want to talk free agency. I want to say that fantasyalarm.com/underdog is the place to be. Promo code ALARM gives you an instant deposit match up to $100. You can zap that QR code, or again, go to fantasyalarm.com/underdog. Use that promo code ALARM. Those are our picks. We'll have more of those coming up over the next 2 shows. Well, now I don't even know where to go.
Yeah, I will say,
coach of the year.
With the 100. Yeah, we got to a lot of stuff there. With the $100 there, I would go up to 100. And personally, because even if you don't want to do the pick'ems, we have best ball league starting up soon, and you're going to use the bonus funds. So that's my advice. Obviously, if you can't afford 100 or whatever, then just put in. They'll match up whatever you put in, but it's not just a pick 'em at Underdog. We do a lot of best balls over there, so you're gonna get invested with that dough.
Yeah, 100%. Agreed. Well, I don't even know. I've got so many things running through my head. Coop, where do you want to go?
I mean, coach of the year, real quick, is that because there's a lot of them where it seems obvious, right? With like rookie of the year and defensive player of the year and some of those, but coach of the year, I think it's up in the air, man. Dan Campbell's very interesting. Shane Steichen to me is one where this Colts team, if they make the playoffs, missing their quarterback, missing Jonathan Taylor, letting go mid-season, one of the like legendary defensive players for this team, I think he's in the running too. Are there any other names you want to throw in the hat? D'Amico Ryans, we mentioned.
D'Amico Ryans is my I like Campbell and I like D'Amico Ryans. Those are my two guys. I love Arthur Smith, but
imagine if he won coach. If they want as much engagement on social media as possible, that's the guy. That's the guy you give the award to, right?
But I mean, listen, yeah, I think D'Amico Ryans, because when you look at what the talent level that Dan Campbell has, plus the talent level of, I mean, I guess Shane Steichen not having Anthony Richardson after a while, not having Jonathan Taylor for the beginning of the season, and really just kind of holding everything together. That's definitely, if they make the playoffs, I could see that. I just love the fact that Houston was like in this whole rebuild mode. And look at what they're doing. I mean, Devin Singletary was a cast off. He's beaten out Damian Pierce, right? I mean, that was a huge thing. And shout out to you, Coop, for being the guy who put everybody in on Devin Singletary early on in the preseason. That was a hell of a call that you made. We talked about the reasons behind using the pass catching running back, Devin Singletary's role, and he's just really, I mean, he turned it out even better. But Nico Collins, Tank Dell was going to be a project. Noah Brown was your slot receiver. There weren't a lot of great weapons, and there wasn't a lot of great things going on with this team. This team was like in the middle of like a culture change and a total makeover. And Ryans has come in, and I mean, and he puts them. If they win the division,
for real. And I'll tell you, they went out. They knew the offense they had to build, and they built it, right? Like even signing Andrew Beck, the fullback, go out, get the best fullback available. If you're going to run the same offense as the 49ers who have Kyle Juszczyk and as the Dolphins who have Alec Ingold, you got to go out and get the best pieces for that. And they did. And I'll tell you what, looking back at it and looking at this Miami Dolphins team, the Miami Dolphins really could use Dalton Schultz in that offense as a two-way tight end that can catch the football. And the Texans made the move to get him, building the same offense, and that could be a difference maker at the end of the day. There's not a lot of free agent tight ends. The best free agent tight end next year is like Hunter Henry. So I'll tell you, making those moves, whether it's the GM or whether it's the coach that gets an award, I mean, they definitely deserve some acknowledgement over there.
Angela throwing Stefanski's name into it. Lost Nick Chubb, huge quarterback issues with Deshaun Watson beyond belief. That's another one that is really, and they dealt with a number of injuries on defense too, and they seem to make it through. Stefanski's a very intriguing option as well.
Yeah.
Damn,
I mean,
Brown.
There's a lot of them, dude. There's a lot of them. For GM, there's a few different ones too that you could throw out there. And I feel
GM of the year that
I feel like you could give it to Howie Roseman any given year, but he gets it all the time, the Executive of the Year award. But I mean, what Howie Roseman did, in the draft, especially to replace the guys they lost, I mean, just crazy. It's And then there's some teams that just didn't do enough. And honestly, the Bills to me feel like one of those teams. They needed another wide receiver.
Yeah, they needed another wide receiver. I kind of, I mean, would it surprise you if they went after either Mike Evans or T. Higgins in the offseason, and they tried to keep everything that's going on there right now, and they turn around and they say, hey, listen, Joe Brady, stay with us, and everybody stay with us, and let's just keep this together here. Let's bring in that extra wide receiver. I don't know if they'll be able to get away with it, but
it's going to be a good year to be a free agent, big-bodied tight end, because I look at the Detroit Lions, and that's exactly what they're missing too. And I look at the Bengals, and if they lose T. Higgins, they're going to need one too. So
big-bodied wide receiver, not a tight end.
What'd I say? Oh yeah, sorry, wide receiver, not tight end.
Oh, no, you said Detroit, which immediately puts you over to little Sam Laporta, and then maybe we were talking about Buffalo, so you could have.
I think that's what happened.
Dreaming about Dalton Kincaid.
Those teams they have, I think that's what it was. Those teams they have. I mean, if you think about it, they have the flanker. Right? They have slot guys, especially the Lions. That's the one thing the Lions are missing. They have everything else, in fact. So those guys are going to get paid by these guys. I mean, you look at the success of, Nico Collins, Michael Pittman, a lot of these teams, obviously Tampa Bay with Mike Evans, you got that big body guy isn't going away. Teams try to get away with not having it, but when the push comes to shove and guys are getting jammed at the line of scrimmage. Got to have that guy.
Anthony says the Panthers are in on the mix for a big number 1 wide receiver too.
Yeah,
I think they're in the market for a lot more than just the big
DJ Chark. DJ Chark ain't it though. He's right.
No, he's definitely not.
Look at the body.
Yeah.
But they got their boy in Tommy Tremble.
Tommy, honestly, dude,
They got their tight end.
If the most important thing was hurdles, Tommy Tremble will be tight end 1.
I think I'm using Tommy Tremble in DFS this week.
You doing it?
Carolina going up against Tampa Bay.
He every once in a while he gets an end around too. He's an interesting cat that time.
I think Andy Dalton's going to end up quarterbacking. I don't know if Bryce Young is going to even quarterback this last game. He got wrecked on Sunday. He got beaten up hard. I don't know if they just put him out there and they're like, "Go ahead, kid."
I don't know. They do say reps are important, but maybe time to have him watch a game from upstairs.
Maybe. All right, listen, there's so much. We got 2 more days here before Thursday night. Is there Thursday night football? Who is it? There is no Thursday night football.
No, yeah, very strange.
Right.
They're doing
all right.
2 games Saturday, and then everything else is Sunday. Is the national championship on Monday, or is that 2 weeks away for college football?
I think it's
that
Monday.
next?
Yeah, it's
so
Monday. This coming Monday.
Yeah, so that's why there's no Monday night football either. So yeah, big weekend slate.
All right. Well, Coop and I will be here tomorrow. We'll also be here on Thursday, same time, everything. Just, go to that Fantasy Alarm YouTube page, hit the subscribe button, right? And obviously hit a like button too. But hit that subscribe button, get all the notifications, because once the regular season does end, we're going to kind of shift some schedules around. We're going to own this 1 to 3 p.m. Eastern block. Like, it's just a matter of which shows are going to be doing, like, are we doing multiple shows for the, Alarm Fest, all that stuff there. 1 to 3 p.m. Eastern is where you want to be, is right here from now till the end of time. How about that?
Yes, sir. Yeah, bingo. Lock that in. Lock that down. Lunch. Tell your boss you need 2 hours for lunch.
You do need 2 hours for lunch. Absolutely. Absolutely. But all right, that's going to do it for us here today. Huge thank you to Brian Burns, who keeps trying to slip in these humorous drops. Good job, Burns.
The best.
Big thank you to all of you guys for checking us out here and the comments in the chat. I love the discussion. Let's keep this going. Talk more free agency, again, everything like that. But we will get you guys all set and ready for Week 18. Coop's going to have rankings on the site. He's going to have his tight end yin-yang going there. I'm going to have the DFS watch list. That'll probably be out tomorrow morning. So no rest for the weary. We got you guys covered here. For Andrew Cooper, I'm Howard Bender. This has been Alarm Fantasy Football. Catch you next time.
Adios, turd nuggets.